In this video, I'm going to talk about how we can portray or create a really good character. So first, when you create a new character, you want to create a round character that is a well-developed character, as if he's a real human. And so in order to do that, you have to imagine, okay, how old is the character going to be? How tall? What's his size? Is he going to be thin or fat? Is he healthy? Is he sickly? Assets. Is he poor or rich? Does he have any flaws? See, remember, the character flaws is what drives the plot, because we want to correct that character flaw, like with St. Paul. Sexuality, his sexuality, is he gay? Is he straight? Is he religious? Is he atheist? How does he walk? Is he limping? Is he not limping? Is he old? Is he young? Does he have a high voice or a low voice? And all of this has to be taken into consideration. Basically, you make a chart, okay? And then you fill in the blanks. And in the chart, you write age, 25, height, 5 feet 5, size, about medium, fat. Age would be middle age, height, 5 feet 5, size, fat, state of health, middle-aged, assets, not so rich, flaws, insecure, sexuality, okay, he could be either one. He could either be, you don't have to make that clear. Gait, oh, he limps. Voice, it's a man with a female voice. Okay, that's one of his, so this would be the biological traits of your character. Psychological, is he stupid? Is he smart? Is he sarcastic? Is he funny? Temperament, does he get angry all the time? Is he shy? Happiness, is he unhappy or happy? Is he positive or negative with his attitudes? Is he self-aware, or is he self-aware? Unconscious aspects. Oh, does he tap his foot? Does he twirl his hair? Does he have tics? Tics like your parts of your face that move unconsciously. Interpersonal or cultural. Is he a loner? Does he have a lot of friends? Do people like him or dislike him? Is he popular or unpopular? Where was he born? Is he the oldest or the youngest, the middle child of his family? Did he go to college? Did he finish school? Did he not finish school? Hobbies. What does he like to do for a living? Is he a lawyer, a doctor? Is he a janitor? Is he a teacher? Does he like teaching? Beliefs. I already went through this. Is he religious? Is he Christian? Is he atheist? Values. Oh, is he greedy? Is he generous? Is he nasty? What does he value? Does he value his family, or is he all self-centered and all he thinks about is just himself? Lifestyle. What does he do for a living? Does he do a lot of sports? Does he spend all his time at a computer playing video games, or he spends all his time outside? Does he spend all his time partying? Lifestyle. Personal history. What were the major events? Is he married? Has he had children? Is he divorced? Are his parents still alive? Was he in the military? Does he have PTSD from World War I, World War II, or whatever war he's in? So major event in his life, including the best and the most traumatic. And if you're gonna create a character, and this is why each human on this earth is so complex, because when you create a character for a story, you have to create all of this so that the person is like an actual person that lives and breathes. So the first thing I tell my students of fiction, that before you write a good story, you have to create a good character. You're going to create a protagonist, and then the protagonist, what's that protagonist? Height, size, state of health, assets, all of it. Flaws, gait, voice. You have to imagine the whole thing. And then I have my students fill out an entire chart in which you actually fill out the age, the height, the sexuality, all of that. So that's for the protagonist. And then antagonist. Okay, for every good hero, he needs some kind of conflicting, opposing antagonist in order for him to have conflict in the story. So then you fill out the same chart. Okay, what is the villain going to be? What's his age? What's the height? And the villain and the protagonist should be about, the same ability, the same temperament, or not the same temperament, the same ability, so that the two of them are evenly matched, so that when they go up against each other, it makes for a great story. Okay, think of Batman and Joker, for instance, or Superman and Zod. Okay, the other Kryptonian. You got the good Kryptonian and the bad Kryptonian. Okay, so when we create characters, they have to be like as if another living, breathing human being. So that's how we create round characters. In my literature, Intro to Literature class, we're not going to be writing stories. We're just going to be analyzing characters that other writers have already written. And so you're going to be analyzing, I think, stories in which, for instance, like the yellow wallpaper, the husband, I think, is static, doesn't change, and the wife is the round, dynamic character that evolves, changes, and goes insane. And so when the writer created those two characters, the author had to think about the age, the height, the size, the state of health. And by the way, when you create a character, with kids anyway, it was such fun creating the character chart with them. We actually created a whole chart. We put it across the classroom blackboard, for instance, and we wrote it on the blackboard, and we created the main character as a man, and he was conflicted, and he was bored in his small town, and that sort of thing, and he wanted to get out into the world. The antagonist was somebody who took advantage of his naivete and stole his money or something like that. So you would create an entire two people. Now you can either create this person from your imagination, or you can create this character based on a bunch of people that you know. That's known as a composite character. When we create a character based on the many people that we know, and we combine all these different people into one character, that's known as a composite character. So that's another way. So either you get the character from your imagination, or autobiographical, it's an extension of yourself. It's actually you, or from many people that you know. So those are the three sources of where you can get a character. And also another one is from the literature that you read, based on good literature. Okay, and so that's a fourth way you can find sources of character. That's why we do character analysis, so that when we write our stories, we can write. And another one is you go outside to the beach, and then you sit and you people watch. You watch how people, as they walk by, then in your imagination, let's say you see a lady in her blue dress. She's sitting at the next table next to you. She's eating her hot dog. You then write in your character sketch reading journal, your reader response journal, I think this lady is rich. She's eating the hot dog because that her dead husband loved hot dogs. In other words, you create. This is what children do. Children do it so easily. Play pretend. You pretend you know that, and you create an entire world around that lady eating her hot dog in her blue dress sitting next to you. Then you see a very fat man, and he's sunning himself in the sun, right? He's wearing blue shorts or whatever shorts, and you create a whole world around him. And basically, and then you write down, this is important, his description in your journal. So that way, when you want to write a story, you have a whole bunch of characters from which to work from. So when I was younger and teaching creative writing, I had such a journal. I remember I was taking a professional development class, and my teacher was kind of rotund. He was kind of fat. He was bald, and he talked in a very scholarly, old-fashioned English. And I remember writing all of these traits down in my character journal. And I wrote down all the different professors. I remember the other students are going, "What are you doing?" Because, the guy's lecture was so boring, no one was paying attention to him anymore. And I said, oh, I'm writing in my character journal. And the other students are like, what's a character journal? And then I showed it to her. I goes, oh, that's our teacher. You described him to a T, right down to the way he talks. And then they ask, why are you doing that? And I go, oh, because when I write, I like to write stories. And someday maybe I could use him as a character in a story. So whenever I would meet interesting people, I would write down how they look. I would write down their psychological, whatever it is I think they're psychological, how they interact with their friends and family, and what I can imagine their personal history to be, you know. And so, and another one is people watching, and so basically, when you write a good story, this is why kids do it so well. You have to know how to play pretend. You have to know how to use your imagination, expand your horizons, get out of your comfort zone, and that's how you create the character. Because the character could also be an extension of yourself. So you have to, either you write it out as a chart, all of these characteristics, or you do it in your head, or you have all of this written down already in your journal and you just fill in the blanks. Okay? Either way, this is how we create a portrait. We make a summary of what the character is like. We show him or her through appearance. We show him or her through habitual or repeated action. In other words, what does he do every day? He teaches every day, or he snores while he's sleeping. So what kind of repeated action is symbolic of that character or endemic of that character? Finally, we show him through speech in a scene. So when I was writing my writing journal, I actually wrote a dialogue based on how the guy was talking. Now I'll give you an example. He would say something like, and you know, the date of this, and this, you know, and you know. Anyway, he always punctuated his dialogue with, you know. So what I did was I took a description of him. He's fat, he's bald, he's a bit, but he's friendly, about 55. Okay, at the time I was about 20, so I thought 55 was old. Okay, so I wrote that in. And then I wrote down a dialogue punctuated with, you know, with the way he spoke. So that's what you mean by, and all of this you write down in your journal. This is what a reader response journal is. It's kind of like a diary where you keep track of all these different characters that you create from walking around or from what you read, reader response, and it's kind of like a repository. Your journal, your idea journal, is a repository of all your literary ideas from everywhere you go. And that way, when you want to write a story, you have your database in your little notebook. And so that's one of the that's what the reader response journal assignments are in our class, is that they are writing prompts so that you can fill your journal with ideas for future stories. So this is how you would look at our literature class from a writer's point of view. So that's how you would portray a character. So I also like to go to the beach, and when I used to have time, I used to do that. I don't have time anymore because now I just grade papers all the time. But in the old days, if you have time, you should try it sometime. It's really a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun if you're on a train and you see different people come onto the train. Write down how they look and then imagine a life for them. That's how you create a character. That's one of the ways of creating a character. So if you have any questions, feel free to